Happy Saturday. 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 Let's see again. Happy Saturday. Okay, hold on. Okay. I had to cut the... You know, I had to get acclimated with the features. While you're live. Let me see this algorithm really quick, like really fast. Uh-oh, I'm on. Quick, like really fast.
Give me a thumbs up.
Uh-oh, I'm on. Let me come in and
Let me come
give
in and give me a thumbs up.
Savings account Saturday. Let me see what you're talking about.
I get asked this question a lot. Nikki, do you have OCD? And my answer is a resounding and very short no. Because OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, is a disorder diagnosed by a physician that can be quite debilitating to those who have it. I just really, really love to clean and organize my home. It all started when I was about 8 years old and I was relentlessly bullied in school, made fun of for the way I dressed, my skin color, and my weight. My room was something I could control, my calm corner, if you will. Something I could control in a world where I couldn't control much. So it became my pleasant hobby and pastime to clean and organize my spaces.
Hold on. Let me start about. I was trying to adjust.
I get asked this question a lot. Nikki, do you have OCD?
Okay. We're starting at the refrigerator. You don't have obsessive compulsive disorder.
Resounding and very short no. Because OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, is a disorder diagnosed by a physician that can be quite debilitating to those who have it.
Lashes. I don't even know how she sleep with them damn lashes on. She be wanting the little things under her eyes. She be wanting the mask on her face.
Really, really
Alani.
love to clean and organize my home. It all started when I was about 8 years old and I was relentless.
I didn't even see what the other thing was. Okay, pasta.
Made fun of for the way I dressed, my skin color, and my weight. My room was something I could control, my calm corner, if you will. Something I could control in a world where I couldn't control much. So it became my pleasant hobby and pastime to clean and organize my spaces. And it stuck with me. It became therapy to me. I realized that having a clean and organized space translated to a clean and organized mind. For me, that helped me in so many ways. Now that I'm older and I have a family to take care of, keeping an organized and beautiful home helps me enjoy the mundane tasks like cleaning, putting away groceries, doing the laundry, and cooking. Having a place for everything where everything is front and center helps me not to forget anything. I know where everything is at any given time, and I love that for me. Self-care isn't just skincare and hygiene. It's keeping a clean and organized space as well. Remember, besties, self-care is filling up the cup you pour from.
Well, I ain't mad at you. It's giving OCD for sure. Let's just hold on just a second. I'm gonna see what Krishan talking about. You still holding them, Lord. Still. Pass them to me when I cut the camera on. Change his diaper. If he ain't walking, he ain't potty trained.
Hey man, you ready to take that jacket off?
Look.
Give me this.
Ooh.
Can I get this? You love your mommy?
Look. I just don't like. He love that doggo Christian, honey. Look, with the blue face still on the face. Girl. I thought you was getting all that removed. Jonathan's PUSSY removed. What's all this cap?
You wanna get down, huh? Come on.
Is he walking?
Let's go walk.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna walk in the park.
We didn't see it. Allegedly. Well, we didn't see it. The camera cut off. We need to go ahead and finish. Let me tell you what happened last
You couldn't
night.
pay me to use Nick.
Let me tell you what happened. Was it Friday night? Let me tell you what happened. Because I have a tendency to cut the air on when it's bedtime. That way it gets really comfortable for everybody to go to sleep. Hey, good night. You know, snuggle up under your blankets and stuff like that. And so I'm laying down in the bed and I'm like, okay, it's Friday. Ooh, I ain't took no nap, but I can go live. We good. So I lay down and I'm waiting for Cole to go to sleep. I'm waiting for Seth to go to sleep. And I just started nodding off. Woke up 12 o'clock, 12:42. I was like, oh my goodness. So, of course, what's the first thing that you do when you wake up in the middle of the night? Duh, you go to the bathroom. What's number 2 though? After you go to the bathroom, you bring your ass on the YouTube. Go to the bathroom first. Then you go to YouTube. Niecy dropped a video. She started all the way back in June, August or something with Charlie Kirk. Kevin from Just Thought Lounge, remember he didn't drop a video Sunday, so he dropped a video last night. Oh. Brenda and Van. It's bike week in Daytona. Everybody's drunk, lit, grown folks. Why they didn't catch no Uber home, I have no idea. Just leave the bikes, chain the bikes up, leave them, and y'all could have caught an Uber. They walking home with their bikes. This random black dude. Go over there to Just Thought Lounge. He just dropped it last night with Kevin. Couldn't even walk home from bike week. This random dude slit both their throats. Pissy drunk, because if they drunk, he blacked out, he don't remember nothing. It was very horrifying. So I had ended up just watching that one last night. Watched Niecy last night. So no, I definitely can't go to sleep. And who comes on my timeline? Joe Kent.
First thing in the morning. I used to wake up and grab coffee and nicotine. Thought it was helping me focus. It was.
2-hour special. Look, I'm already 53 minutes in. Check the stats. 1,339,063 views. Dropped 2 days ago. Please take it away.
People, I think, was somewhat organic, but then in short order, we came in and we said we're going to work with the Israelis, but we're also going to have to work heavily with the Sunni population on the ground.
So let me tell you where we are at now at 53 minutes, because this is a 2-hour and I didn't speed it up. I was listening very intently. Remember, who was that? Lindsey Graham remember, I believe it was Lindsay? Was it Pete? I think it was Lindsay, if I'm not mistaken. Whoever had did that initial press conference and was like, hey, so what ended up happening was we found out we had got some intel that, okay, so Iran, they just might so possibly could be maybe, but gonna be over here messing with Israel. And so we decided we might as well go ahead and intervene, get all up in their business and attack Iran. Sean asked the most valid question that everybody was asking. So wait. Wait, I got it. I screen grabbed it.
We had robust debates in the lead up to Midnight Hammer.
It's on my phone.
After Midnight Hammer, President Trump's decision-making circle was very, very tight. And that's his prerogative. He can do that. However, he had all pro-Israel hawks, like, really in his ear. Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz. And then on the outside, again, the media echo chamber, knowing that President Trump was watching Fox News, knowing what media he was consuming, and they're all saying the same thing, Iran can't have any enrichment, which basically put us on this collision course towards a conflict. I think the Israelis once again got nervous about a month ago because they knew that Witkoff and Kushner and others in the administration were actively engaging with the Iranians to get a deal, and that's why the Israelis launched our attack, knowing they could force our hands. And that's why I think you saw Marco Rubio and others come out immediately and say, well, yeah, there was an imminent attack, and the imminent attack was the Israelis attacking the Iranians. And then we knew that they would retaliate back against us. Why did we...
See what I mean? But what, let me let them.
Why would the Iranians retaliate against us if they know that the Israelis...
Skip it.
The attack was the Israelis attacking the Iranians. And then we knew that they would retaliate back against us. Why would they retaliate against us? Why would the Iranians retaliate against us? If they know that the Israelis are the ones that hit them, why would they retaliate against us? Because they know that basically we fund the Israelis, that Israel would not have the offensive capability without us.
I'm sorry, what? Wait. What? Did I hear that correctly? It took me everything in me.
Because they know that basically we fund the Israelis, that Israel...
Ooh. Because they know that we what? We fund the Israeli. Wait a minute. Time out. Joe, remember, listen. I had to watch them. Because remember, I didn't even finish Tucker yet. I got so caught up. I had ended up watching Tucker too late. Didn't go back to finish watching it. So when I found out that he was with Sean, I'm like, oh, well, let's have a seat. Let's talk. This was after Niecy. This was after Kevin. Kevin was like 35 minutes. Niecy was like no, I think Niecy was like 35 minutes and Kevin was like 19, 20. This is coming in after all that. I was like,
why would they retaliate against us? Because they know that basically we fund the Israelis, that Israel would not have the offensive capability without us. The Israelis are very competent at conducting, I'd say, like smaller...
I'm starting where I left off at.
In Syria to create an uprising, and that's where ISIS came from. We worked directly with Al Qaeda. Hillary Clinton's emails confirm this. The operations that we were doing to support the so-called Free Syrian Army, and there were some moderates there, but the most effective guys initially were Al Qaeda and then eventually ISIS. Now, obviously, ISIS got out of control, and they started plotting attacks in Europe. They started plotting attacks in America. They took over large swaths of Iraq. So we then had to go back and put out once again the brush fire that we had started and go after ISIS. That's where I lost my late wife. But Israel was the driving factor in that. We took down Saddam, who was a strong man against Israel. We then had to go in and take out Assad, who was a strong man against Israel as well. And now this is the third phase. We're going now into Iran to take out that strong government for Israel.
And who do we put in charge of Syria?
Well, we handed that whole, well, again, we screwed the whole thing up so much
We
that
handed it to a leader of fucking Al Qaeda.
he was in ISIS initially. He was in Al Qaeda initially in Iraq, fighting against us. We had him in jail. Joined ISIS, broke off from ISIS, hand-selected by bin Laden's right-hand man, Ayman Zawahiri, to lead Nusra. And then they rebranded. And this is the number one way to fool Americans as a jihadist is just put on a suit and get a good PR company, and then apparently we'll just believe whatever you say.
There's videos of this guy holding people's heads that he cut off.
Yeah, he's the thug.
He's shaking
He's a brutal
President Trump's hand.
Yeah, horrible advice. Yep. And
So what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
Exactly. President Trump at the beginning, again, this is where Trump.
This guy's inviting a fucking terrorist into our house.
In the first Trump administration, he had Syria right. He said, we're going to go in, we're going to take out the caliphate because it poses a threat to us, and then we're going to get out. And this is why I supported President Trump, even after losing Shannon, because he was trying to get our troops out. The military was fighting him. And then when Assad fell in December, right before President Trump even took office, when Assad fell and Jelani, whatever, HTS, took over Syria, President Trump put out a truth, and you still probably pull it up, where he says, whatever happens in Syria, it's not our business. I always said it was a bad idea. I don't want to be involved in Syria. And that was actually the right approach. Because it was too late for us to go back in and fight the new government, etc. The best thing we could have done is back off, let the Turks, let the Israelis, let our regional partners kind of take lead there. But instead, we went all in with the Shah government. We embraced them, and now we're pretending they're part of like the ISIS coalition, and it's an entire mess. Like, look, the Middle East basically, and President Trump used to understand this. The Middle East is a place where you can just get involved in these never-ending quagmires, and you start one fire to put out another, and you never fully extricate yourself. And at the end of the equation, there's never a clear benefit for the American people. And that's gotten us to this state that we're in right now, and we have to stop that.
What about the IAEA inspections? We were going in there and inspecting all these facilities in Iran, correct? And then Trump cut that
Oh, yeah, it's part of the,
in his first administration.
right, it's part of the getting rid of the JCPOA.
Why would we do that?
I think the idea with the JCPOA was it gave Iran access, and I partially agree with this. It gave Iran access to more capital with sanctions circumvention. That was the whole famous. Initially, Obama unfroze a bunch of the assets that we had frozen, and that's why we flew over the pallets of cash that everyone talks about so frequently. And then, as part of throwing out the JCPOA, we got rid of the inspections, and we did. And there was because when they put in the inspectors, there was some sanctions relief that came there. By getting rid of the JCPOA and slapping the sanctions back on them, that made it more challenging for the inspectors to get back into the Iranian sites. Again, though, like Trump had used his leverage, he killed Soleimani. We were in a really good place. At the beginning of this administration, President Trump was in a great spot with Iran. Him and the Supreme Leader both agreed, no nukes. We need to have a discussion about enrichment. We need to have a discussion about how that's going to be supervised and checked. But this was a discussion that could have been worked out by diplomats sitting at a table as opposed to a massive military conflict. And Iran, and again, I'm no fan of Iran, they were restraining their proxies. They even restrained their proxies throughout the first iteration of the 12-Day War. So, again, I go back to why are we doing what we're doing right now? Look at the ramifications. Look at how little we're gaining from this. And again, all roads go back to Israel is the benefactor in all of this. And we
I didn't vote for him. And don't worry. I didn't vote for Kamala either. Problem is, thank you for the thumbs up. I'm just not quite understanding this. What do you want to call it? I'm trying to figure out what's to call it. This relationship with Israel. I'm trying to, find a correct analogy, because how did we get to this point? No new wars, no new wars, no new wars. And then, here we go. Every time we turn left, turn right, you meddling in this business, you meddling in that business. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, please explain it to me. What are we doing? I just don't get it. I really don't. Maybe I should be happy that I don't get it. Because it's a very deep rabbit hole when you think about it. Remember, Tommy G was over there giving out certificates to Congress. I stand with Israel. I stand with Israel. What is this? Why are we just not finding this out? Child, it was them stats. It was in this interview. He was talking about when Donald Trump had, was it the Strait of Hormuz? When he was about to get ready to shut it down, or when something about them stats. Somebody made $60 billion on in stocks when they traded them stocks right before was it the Strait? Something happened. Man, I can't think, man. I'm talking about that doggone Joe Kemp. He had you listening so intently to every word. You just be holding on to every word. What happened? What happened? He talks so factual.
Relationship to a place where it actually benefits us and not just them.
Look at Sean. He's so damn mad.
Is traditional foundation making you look worse? Traditional foundations are not great for lines and fades.
Sean is so blowy.
Sticky and gooey, and it really emphasizes my wrinkles and dark spots.
We need something different. We need something moisturizing that gives a bit of color.
As far as these proxies, I mean, you know Sarah Adams, correct? Mm-hmm. I mean, she's been talking about the sleeper cells in the U.S. for probably 2 years now, maybe longer.
Yeah.
You know, so there's thousands of terrorists in sleeper cells all around the country. Now, how are we going to know if Iran is the one that activated them?
Right. Or were they just inspired by events that are over there? So I testified publicly in December that we at NCTC had identified 18,000 known suspected terrorists who had access to America. The more we dug into the data of the last 4 years, the more I realized we have no idea who's in our country. Just because there was no border, the CBP-1 app and the ability for people to come into the country undetected, but then later apply for a benefit, knowing they'd get a parole status, which gives them a legal status in America, which we're still caught up in the courts and fighting the courts with. We just simply don't know. At the beginning of this war, we were looking at other data sets of people who could have come from either Iran or Lebanon, Iraq, countries that have large Shia populations. And again, the data was, to me, it was as murky as the numbers of who came into the border. Like it the one consistent factor I kept coming away with, or the one takeaway I kept coming away with, was that we have no idea who is in our country right now. And that is incredibly dangerous. So again, I think we should be focusing the majority of our efforts on securing our homeland and making sure the people who came into our country in the last 4 years are located and we get them out. Now, sleeper cells, I think a lot of people, when they hear sleeper cells, they'll think like it's a handful of guys who are specifically trained and infiltrated to conduct an attack at a certain time. That could be taking place. I don't think that's the main threat. I think the main threat is people that have come here legally and illegally being inspired by media they consume or by seeing social media clips and then saying, now I'm going to conduct an attack as a lone actor. Because that's even harder for us to pick up on. Like cells, when they infiltrate, they have to communicate with each other. The U.S. intelligence community and law enforcement, we're pretty good at infiltrating those cells and detecting them. It's not 100%. It can still happen. But when it's a lone actor and it's someone who's just inspired to take action based on the fact that they shouldn't even be in our country in the first place, and they see some media, and they take action then, that's hard for us to actually get ahead of and stop until it's too late. And at the beginning of this conflict, we've already seen several attacks. There was a guy down in Texas who went in the bar and shot up several, I think killed 3 people and shot several more. You know, he had an Iran t-shirt on.
He's at ODU too.
Yeah, exactly.
Virginia.
Exactly, right there too. And then,
now, how do you know that they? So it's how do you know they need to communicate and that we would pick that up? Because it's been reported by Sarah and her counterparts that they are only communicating back to HQ in Afghanistan through couriers, and that they're totally isolated. They don't know each other. So the only way they have to communicate is through couriers, which we would not pick that up.
That's definitely possible too. Yeah, that's certainly possible. Yeah, I wouldn't rule that out. Again, it goes back to like the border was open for 4 years, so it's kind of like if you and I wanted to attack our adversaries and they left the border open for 4 years, like how creative could we get? And that's the opportunity that we gave all of our enemies. So when people would say, well, how many bad guys do you think are in the country? They're like seriously, what's the number? I'm like, I don't know. I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth is that the more we dig through the data, the more we realize we really, truly don't know. And then people would say, well, do you think it's sleeper cells? Do you think it's this, that, or the other thing? It's like, well, honestly, again, we kind of go back to the only thing we created for the last 4 years under the previous administration was a massive opportunity for terrorists to exploit our country and to kill people here.
If they were to attack with a proxy, would you be 100% confident that it was them?
If I ran, or I mean, at this point, what we've seen more of is we've seen younger people, some of whom were born here, conduct these attacks, and they were just inspired by something that they saw. And then a lot of them too. I know Sarah has her theory of the case. I think the bigger threat, based on what we saw last year, we saw the terrorist attacks we saw here in America. Most of those people were inspired by media content they had consumed coming out of Gaza, the Gaza conflict, and they cited Gaza as being a driver pushing them towards violence. So, yeah, obviously, if we intercepted a cell of Iranians that, we could prove they had ties back to Iran, then absolutely we'd have to hold them accountable for that.
Look, I did this.
Never ever sue the driver who crashed into you after a car accident. There's a better way to get compensated that's faster, easier, and could get you way more money without spending years in court or paying expensive lawyers up front. If you've been in a car accident within the past year, even if you were just a passenger, what I'm about to share could save you months of hassle and put tens or even hundreds of thousands more in your pocket. Here's what most people do. They either accept whatever small check insurance sends them, or they hire a lawyer up front and prepare for a long, expensive legal battle. Both options leave you frustrated and underpaid. But some accident victims are discovering a completely different approach, one that could get them 6- or 7-figure settlements without ever suing anyone or stepping into a courtroom. It's called the 2025 Crash Connect Compensation Program, and it was created specifically to help accident victims get maximum compensation without the nightmare of lawsuits, upfront legal fees, or insurance company
Don't be
runarounds.
knowing what he be talking
They're
about.
currently looking for 10 more car accident victims
about
to
he
try
could
the
be
program
real
at no
going,
cost
going,
and receive their full compensation quickly.
Not like that
Check in
kind of
seconds
random,
if you
but he
qualify
be
for the
going.
program by clicking.
You be like, what?
Maybe there are other motivations for this as well.
I mean,
To get us all riled up.
Oh, for sure.
it's a possibility.
100%.
Right.
Do you think that's a possibility?
I think war always presents an opportunity for people to exploit to further their objectives. So if you want to sell more of surveillance state, more infringements upon our civil liberties, now is the time to do it.
Ooh.
Because, like I just described, it's a very scary security environment. You can legitimately say, like, hey, we don't know who's on our borders, terrorists could attack because what's taking place in the Middle East. There's been a massive decline in law and order in general in our cities, so therefore we need, take your pick, what kind of intrusions on our civil liberties. And it becomes easier. I mean, the more people are scared of what's happening, the easier that is to sell. So I definitely think there's going to be elements of the government, big tech, that will exploit this chaos.
Big J.
You're being accused of leaking classified information.
Yeah.
What classified information did you leak?
It's a good question. I didn't leak any classified information. I had my full security clearance until last week when I walked out the door. I had full access to everything, so my security clearance was never suspended, never pulled. I think most of these leak allegations are just a media narrative to take away from the conversation that you and I are having. The first leak accusation surfaced right as I was going live with Tucker. So they were just trying to take the wind out of my sails, I think, a little bit, by saying, don't listen to this guy's a leaker.
I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah.
It seems very reactionary to me. When did the investigation start? Are you aware?
I don't think there is an investigation.
There isn't.
No one has come to me and said you're being investigated. The only proof of there being an investigation is someone in the government leaking to the media saying that Kent's under investigation for being a leaker. So they had to leak that I'm a leaker.
Another leak.
Right, exactly. That's why, like, I
actually
take it seriously. The FBI has ruined innocent people's lives, like General Flynn, with an accusation before. So I take it seriously.
For sure.
I'm confident I didn't leak any classified
I'm
information.
confident too.
But at the same time, like, we kind of know what the game is here.
For sure.
And if they really were going to investigate me, they would come to me and say, hey, you're being investigated, or we're going to ask you some questions, etc. If they really were going to investigate me too, I don't think they would tip their hand ahead of time by leaking it. That doesn't work out in their advantage at all. So I think it's just immediate.
If they knew you were leaking, why wouldn't they have fired you and then continued on with the investigation? They were just going to wait for your resignation.
Right. They at least would have pulled my clearance.
He's going to resign soon. Don't fire him. We know he's leaking classified information, but he's going to be gone soon.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
These two so cool. Look at Sean, deep side. Look.
What's going on with the Butler assassination attempt?
So,
Are we looking into that?
yeah, I think
Look at that, yeah.
there's basically two schools of thought as to what's taking place right now and how we got in the situation with Iran that, Trump should know better, and I think he does know better. I just gave you the more than likely, I think he just got a lot of bad information. There's a much smaller chance, but I think it can't be ignored, the fact that there was several assassination attempts against President Trump that really haven't fully been explained. One of which, so Butler itself, no one is saying is linked to the FBI, but 2 days before the Butler assassination attempt, we arrested a guy named Asif Merchant. He was just prosecuted and I think going to jail. We arrested him for being recruited by Iran to come here and attempt to assassinate President Trump to avenge the killing of Qasem Soleimani. Merchant had a FBI informant that was working with him. Merchant didn't know he was an FBI informant, obviously. And they basically set up a scheme to conduct an assassination against President Trump using a sniper. They arrest Merchant, and then 2 days later, a sniper tries to kill Trump at Butler. I wanted to look for potential linkage between those events, was completely shut off and blocked from that.
You were?
Every time I hear his name, it throws me off because I'm like, wait, Butler. Man, they shut that down so quick. The little guy, oh my goodness. The assassination attempt on President Trump. They had shut it down so quick. I almost forgot that the little dude had got shot. I was like, wait, is he going to trial soon? And then I ended up finding out that it was somebody else who had who had tried to conduct an assassination attempt on President Trump. Was it at the golf course? It was somewhere. Some random little old white dude. I'm like, who is this?
No, NCTC was the National Counterterrorism Center.
Why would they cut you off? That seems like definitely possible terrorism, especially considering the first one was supposedly sent by Iran.
Certainly. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Again, we were told, hey, the Marchant trial is ongoing, so you can't look into any of the information. You can look at a little bit of the information, but we can't really do much there. But my question was always, is there any linkage between anyone that Marchant talked to and the people who were there at Butler and Crooks? Because we can say all day long they're not linked, but are we sure that we had everything that Marchant was doing under control? Is there any linkage between those two events? From my vantage point, I didn't see that investigation being done very thoroughly. I think this matters.
Who's conducting that investigation?
That was all the FBI.
Oh, the FBI.
Yeah. I think this matters in the terms of what we're talking about, because you had Butler, you had the other assassination attempt at West Palm Beach, and then you had, once Trump came into office, you had several breaches of his security perimeter. You had the famous stoppage of the escalator at the UN. You had, when he went out to dinner, there was the table of Code Pink protesters who sat down next to them. And then you had the police officer, who I think is probably a good patriotic American, but he was armed. He wasn't part of the president's detail. Come up and shake President Trump's hand, so basically circumventing the Secret Service. And then you had the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and Charlie was one of the most vocal advocates against a regime change war inside of Iran, and he was advocating heavily that we change our stance in regards to our relationship with Israel. He was in the White House lobbying President Trump to not attack Iran in the lead up to the 12-day war. So Charlie would have been very, very much against what's going on right now. He's then killed in September. And so I think it's irresponsible for us not to look at all of these things on a broader timeline and see where they fit into what's taking place right now.
That's the sound of an American oil company hard at work. Want to be a part of it? Listen up.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, and I'm the CEO of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you joining us at our next webinar, where you can drill deeper into our bond offering. We currently offer 2 investment opportunities: a private placement bond offering for accredited investors with target annual interest rates between 9 and 13%. Also, we offer a registered bond offering open to both accredited and non-accredited investors with rates ranging from 9 to 12%. Our daily production rates have risen as high as 30.
Are you saying that you don't think that the kid that's been propped up to have killed Charlie is the guy?
I'm not saying that at all. I mean, that kid, his fingerprints are on the gun. That case is going to be made. What I do know is that NCTC was investigating any foreign linkage, not necessarily just to the suspect, to Robinson, but any foreign linkage that could have taken place regarding that case. And again, we were stopped really early on from thoroughly investigating. And all.
Hold on. Don't try to But it is his gun. From my understanding, the gun is and does belong to Tyler Robinson. The problem is the gun and the bullet don't match each other. In my opinion. Because there wasn't any bullet. There wasn't no... We'll just wait. We'll just wait for the case. We'll just wait for the case. Like, let's just wait till the trial, The case goes to trial. Goodness gracious, I couldn't even get my thoughts together. Couldn't even get my words together. Couldn't formulate a sentence because Joe just said it so factual. Oh, well, his fingerprints was on the gun. I'm like, yeah, that's his gun. I'm like, well, that part we do know. We do know that is, in fact, his gun. I believe that's the alleged part. But even still, why the gun and the bullet don't match? Oh, I'm so over this.
Can say is that we had more foreign connections. I'm not saying a foreign government, but I'm saying foreign connections to look into, to thoroughly do our due diligence from an investigatory standpoint. That, in my opinion, was not done. Now, the FBI will tell you, we got our guy, he turned himself in, his fingerprints are on the gun. There's been some debate over whether or not he confessed. I guess we'll see when he goes to court. But now that the case is being handled 100% by Utah. And again, considering how prominent Charlie Kirk was, I think it's important that we continue that investigation and that every angle is looked into and that a complete investigation actually takes place. And from what I saw, that did not happen.
Bingo.
So this is going to wind up just like JFK.
I hope not. I hope not. I think we have the ability to really look into every aspect of it, no matter what the truth is.
Right, exactly.
And no matter where that leads us. And again, like, look, people are saying, like, why are you speaking cryptically?
Right.
I can't speculate. I can only tell you what I know. And the only thing I know for sure
is that
our due diligence was not done on looking at the foreign links. The rest of the case could be rock solid.
Sure.
If they've got Tyler Robinson,
there are foreign links.
There's foreign connections we need to look into.
What are those connections?
That I can't get into because that's all tied up inside of classified channels, essentially. But there was more work we needed to do. And now,
come on, Joe, please. We don't know no, but we know. That's all you had to say. We don't know no, but we know. Like, I can't. I mean, it's like.
Is that we had more foreign connections. I'm not saying a foreign government, but I'm saying foreign connections to look into, to thoroughly do our due diligence from an investigatory.
Sean be so on point. When he be sitting like this, he be having that leg all. Get your light right. He be all leaned over to the side, and he had that leg propped up on that knee. Look, he is so sharp. He caught it so quick. Look.
Standpoint that in my opinion was not done. Now the FBI will tell you, we got our guy. He turned himself in. His fingerprints are on the gun. There's been some debate over whether or not he confessed. I guess we'll see when he goes to court. But now that the case is being handled 100% by Utah.
Watch him.
And again, considering how prominent Charlie Kirk was, I think it's important that we continue that investigation and that every angle is looked into and that a complete investigation actually takes place. And from what I saw, that did not happen.
Look at Sean.
So this is going to wind up just like JFK.
I hope not. I hope not. I think we have the ability to really look into every aspect of it, no matter what the truth is. And no matter where that leads us. And again, like, look, people are saying, like, why are you speaking cryptically? I can't speculate. I can only tell you what I know. And the only thing I know for sure is that our due diligence was not done on looking at the foreign links. The rest of the case could be rock.
See how he said our due diligence. We didn't. Stop popcorn and them sun chips. Due diligence wasn't done. Looking at the foreign links. Watch Sean caught it.
If they've got Tyler Robinson,
there are foreign links.
There's foreign connections we need to look into.
What are those connections?
That I can't get into because that's all tied up inside of classified channels, essentially. But there was more work we needed to do. And now I'm not saying, like, you know how an investigation works. You chase down 99 leads and 100 leads and 99 of them are BS, and you get one good one. So even the things that I know of that I don't want to speculate about, half of them could be, 75%, 90% of them could be trash leads, but there's stuff that we need to look down. Charlie was a very influential figure. He traveled the world. He traveled the nation. There was a lot of people from all over the place looking and watching Charlie Kirk speak there. There was people speculating about what was going to happen to Charlie Kirk online ahead of time. So there's more work that we needed to do in regards to foreign linkage to the Kirk assassination.
Look at Sean. Oh, that big old nose. Look. Hey guys, can you believe it? Amazon. It took it too long, man. Come on, Sean. Damn, get your thoughts together. Jeez.
I just don't understand why you wouldn't want to know
what happened to Charlie.
Why you wouldn't conduct a full investigation on who tried to kill you.
Right.
If you're the president of the United States.
Well, Donald, yeah.
Right. That does not compute in my brain.
Right.
Why would you not want to know?
Well,
especially after we were told for quite some time that Thomas Crooks was an enigma. We didn't know who he was. He's just this crazy kid. He had no online footprint. We were told for a while that they couldn't get into his devices, that they were locked, couldn't get into his devices. And then when they said they finally got into his devices, the FBI finally said that they got into his devices, they were like, no, there's nothing there. Well, fast forward a couple months, and Tucker Carlson's investigative journalist finds a full online persona of this kid. He's communicating with other people. He's commenting on YouTube videos. He's interacting with people that are overseas. So there's more work there to be done, clearly. And there was a big rush to say, like, well, we shot the sniper. He's kind of an enigma. We don't know anything about him, but case closed. Cremate the body 10 days later.
Tucker's the one that came up with all that?
Tucker's investigative journalist that works on Tucker's team found Crooks' online persona. Yeah.
And the FBI didn't.
The FBI didn't report it. I don't know what the case is.
Look at these two.
Where's Tulsi stand on all this stuff?
Tulsi Gabbard.
She's obviously in a tough spot, so I don't want to say anything else that's going to put her in a tougher spot than she's already in. She's doing the best that she can.
How many people up there are against what we're doing?
It's hard to put a number on it. Look, I mean, you know how the government is.
Maybe a percentage.
Yeah. Most people that serve in the government, I found, they want to make their boss happy, and they don't want to. They don't want any friction at work, and they want to salute and they want to move out.
I think that's where everybody's lost it.
100%.
My fucking job is to protect and serve the people of the United States.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and look, there's a lot of good patriots that are still there who think that they're doing the right thing. And this was a dilemma that I had. I was like, well, do I stay here and do I soldier on and be a good soldier? And do I show up every day and, do my darndest? And then if the big strategic picture gets messed up, well, that's not really on me. I did that for 20 plus years in the military and in the agency, and kind of see where that got us, right? When we knew better, see where that got us. And so, like I said, 20 plus years ago, I made a promise to myself, if I ever had the ability to speak out and try to get us on a better path, I would do so. If my late wife hadn't gotten killed, if I hadn't been through the experiences I had been through, I don't think I have the clarity and the courage to do what I'm doing now. So I am sympathetic to people who are inside, who are still like, hey, I'm just a guy. I'm not that important. I'm trying to do my job. I'll do what I'm told. However, the people who came in, with President Trump, in key leadership positions that are a part of this movement and leading this movement, I think they've got to reflect on what we ran on, because this is not what we ran on. And they have to live with it. And so they can either make a decision to try and influence the situation from inside, but once they realize they can't influence that situation inside, then they have a choice to make. Do they stay and be complicit with it, or do they leave and try and get us back on the right path?
Shout out to Marjorie Taylor Greene. In
your mind, how do we get out of this thing? I mean, we're in it now with Iran. We're in it.
We're in this shit now.
How does this end? How do we get out of this? What are the options?
If we don't deal with the Israelis, then this thing will just keep going. There might be fits and starts, like maybe this 5-day ceasefire will work. I'm a little skeptical. I'm hopeful. But unless we restrain the Israelis and tell them, like, you're done, and if you continue to attack and you continue to do things without telling us and asking us, without asking us first, we're paying for it, you're going to ask us first. Then we are going to negate our other part of the deal. And our part of the deal says that we defend Israel. And we provide their Iron Dome system. We provide their air defense. We provide a lot of their defense.
We provide their Iron Dome.
We provide.
We don't even have a fucking Iron Dome.
We provide a lot of the funding for the Iron Dome, for sure. So I would say to the Israelis very bluntly, you're done going on the offense. We will tell you what operations you can conduct. If you disobey us and you don't run your operations by us that we're paying for, then we're going to start taking away features of your defense system to the point where all you can do with your military basically is stay on the defense. That's the only way to restrain the Israelis, in my opinion. I think we're past the point of being able to have, like, hey, nice conversations, like, hey, could you guys please not? Because every time we say, could you please not, the Israelis say, yeah, sure, that sounds good. And then they turn around and they conduct strikes that basically negate any kind of negotiation that we're trying to pursue.
I mean, didn't Netanyahu literally just say that?
Again,
with this statement.
Again, as frustrating as people, as I get with the Israelis sometimes, they're not very subtle. Like, the Israelis are not doing a lot of, like, lying and BSing to us. Like, they're pretty upfront with what they're doing and what they plan to do. So I would take them at their word, and I would just say, no, you're not, because we're paying for all of this. And we have to restrain them. And I know a lot of people are going to be very, very frustrated when I say that, because there are people who really like Israel. And I'm not saying, like, you cut off Israel, you whatever. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying you take away the resources that they have right now to go on the offense. Make it so Israel can only defend themselves. That's fine. But they can't go on the offense anymore. Once we do that, and once we restrain the Israelis, then I think we have a place where we can use our allies in the Gulf, we can use the Omanis, the Qataris, etc., to get the Iranians to come to the table and come up with a way that we can reopen the Straits of Hormuz. I think we're going to need to say to the Iranians, okay, we need to lift sanctions on some of their oil. We have to give them something. So I think lifting the sanctions and letting them get a lot of their oil introduced back into the world market, I think that's actually a pretty good carrot to get them to the table, and that's also going to help lower the price at the pump and lower and get more oil and petrochemicals flowing for the fertilizers and everything else that the world needs in terms of energy. But again, step one is restraining the Israelis. That's the only way I can see out of this. And look, we're going to have to make some concessions. We're going to have to say, hey, we'll work with whoever is there in Iran. We're going to have to give them red lines that might need to be enforced every now and again. Like, your proxies will not attack us. You will stop attacking the Gulf countries. Otherwise, this will continue. But at this point, they know we're pretty serious about using force. I think we have to show them now that we're serious about using diplomacy and getting to the table.
Almost every rain jacket on the market is made with toxic chemicals like PFAS that stay in your body forever. But this is the only rain jacket with a 20,000 millimeter waterproof rating with 0 harmful chemicals. The Bearskin Heavy Storm Packable Rain Jacket is the ultimate wet winter rain jacket that's built for city living too. Every stitch is sealed with silicone on the inside, and every inch is coated with a Beartex water-repellent coating on the outside. And that makes it light enough to stash, but strong enough to handle a winter storm. Thousands of men around the world already love wearing the Bearskin Heavy Storm Rain.
What are the chances you think that'll happen?
Bingo. I mean,
every day that goes by, less and less. Right now, again, look, I know you're frustrated with President Trump. I know probably a lot of your viewers are frustrated with President Trump. I think if President Trump sits and thinks about where we are and how we got here, I think he'll understand that we're in a bad spot and we need to get out of it. And in order to get out of it, he needs to take drastic action. Now, that's where the good news is, and this is what gives me some hope. President Trump is good at taking drastic action. He is decisive, he is unpredictable, but in terms of doing big things, that's the story of President Trump's life. He can do it. So I think other presidents in this situation, they wouldn't be able to rapidly extricate us from this. I think Trump can. He needs to listen to his core beliefs, and he needs to listen to different advisors, and he needs to have the courage to restrain the Israelis. Then I think he can do it. It gets harder and harder every day that goes on, though. If he's got this 5-day window that he's created for himself, he needs to use it and he needs to pursue it aggressively. At the end of that 5-day window, I think it's going to be exponentially more difficult.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, Iran's literally saying there are no negotiations going on.
Right.
What do you think? Do you think there are, or do you think there are not?
I'm sure we're trying. I'm sure we're trying. We have some people that I know are probably aggressively reaching out. Now, are they getting responses? I don't know. I just think that the Iranians, after us killing so many of the negotiators, and so many of the leadership there, and then us, basically saying after the 12-day war that like we used the negotiations as a ruse, I don't think that helps. Because I think before, again, there was a tension inside of Iran where you had the clerics and you had some of the moderates that were saying like, okay, we won't make a nuclear bomb. We are interested in some engagement with the Americans. We would like a deal. But then you had the hardliners. You had the students of Qasem Soleimani who were like, absolutely not. Let's go on the offensive. Let's use our proxies to kill these guys. Let's bleed them out of the Middle East. So right now, who's winning that argument inside Iran? I fear the hardliners are winning that argument inside of Iran. Because every Iranian leader that they target and they kill, I mean, Trump even said it today when he was at the Plainside, when he was Plainside, he was asked, who are you talking with inside of Iran? And he said, I don't want to name them because then they might get killed. Because they might get killed by the Israelis. Because the Israelis don't want us to have negotiation.
This is fucking crazy.
It's insane. No, it's insane.
This is fucking crazy.
It's insane. So the Iranians...
that he's not saying that because if he names a name, the Israelis will kill them.
I didn't say it. He's saying...
You're saying that we can't... I just don't understand how... Essentially, you're saying we just need to tell them no.
We have to. And not just tell them no, you have to take things away from them. You can't just say, because we've said no to them before. How forcefully? I don't know. I think it's pretty debatable. But right now, they're having their cake and they're eating it too. I mean, we are doing all the heavy lifting in this war for them, but we're also continuing to provide them so much military assistance. We're providing their defense package for them. So we have to go to them and we have to say not just no, but you're going to run any strikes by us. And also, you're not going on the offense anymore. You're done being on the offense. If you're attacked, we'll back you up. If you guys want to do military operations on your own border, that's your country, fine. What takes place now in Iran, that affects us, that affects the GCC, that affects the Straits of Hormuz and world energy. You're done. We have to say that to them, and we have to take away things that make it so that they can only do their own defense. They can't go on the offense. Until we do that, I don't think the Iranians actually will take us very seriously.
We don't have a problem doing that to any other country in the world.
Pretty crazy, right?
Why do we have
Us by the balls.
reluctancy to do it to Israel?
I mean, there's obviously the Israeli lobby factor, AIPAC and all the other surrogates that spend so much money on our elections. There's major donors. Miriam Adelson gave, I mean, someone can look this up, $100 million to Trump's campaign. And she's not the only, I think someone can look it up. I'm not sure exactly off the top of my head. Significant. And there's other really prominent donors that are very pro-Israel, many of whom are dual citizens.
I mean, the owner of OnlyFans, he just died today.
Right,
But,
big AIPAC.
he was the biggest donor to AIPAC.
Right.
Did you know that?
I just learned that today, actually. I had to check that myself because I wasn't aware of that until he
He's
passed
fucking
away.
dead now.
Yeah, so we've got a pimp who funds AIPAC so that we can go to war. Make it make sense. But I think the Israeli lobby is part of it. But I also think that there is a massive outpouring of support from like the evangelical community in America, evangelical Christians. And also I think a lot of people, especially the baby boomer generation, have just been led to believe that Israel's a democracy. The Israelis, they speak English. They sound like us. I've dealt with the Israelis quite a bit. Like they're pretty pleasant to deal with. They're easy to deal with. I mean, because a lot of them are educated in America. It's easy to get complacent around the Israelis because like they don't have that foreign feel. And so they do a good job of selling, hey, we have the same interests here, man. We're the same. So a lot of it is financial. You have a spiritual component to it. And then you also have the Israelis basically, by providing us with a lot of intelligence and potential access, even though I think a lot of that is to inform us, is to influence us rather than inform.
Yeah, you had already mentioned that a lot of that stuff isn't in the intel pipeline.
Right, exactly.
What is the intel pipeline?
What is it?
What is the flow of intel from the field to the top?
Well, I mean, it depends on what manner of intelligence it is. But stuff that we get, and you know this from your past life, when we get information, especially from like a foreign liaison service, like it always has that caveat, like could be used to influence and inform, so everyone knows what they're reading. If you want to lean heavily on the inform side and you're a partner of ours that has access to senior decision makers, you bypass the intel guys because they're going to check your stuff. They're going to put it through a vetting process. They're going to put it through analytical tradecraft. If you want to short circuit that, then you go directly to key decision makers and you say, hey, I've got some intel for you. It hasn't gone through the intel channels. And a lot of those senior decision makers, although they have access to 18 intelligence agencies and top secret clearances, they're not familiar with intel. And so they might not know that there's a vetting process that needs to take place, or things are happening so quick they don't have time to think about it. So the Israelis, with their access, and again, a lot of that access comes from the media, it comes from the donors, it comes from just a certain familiarity and comfort that we have with the Israelis. They're able to push that in there. We get intel. I mean, intel, as you know, it's not 100%. It's not always accurate, but when we get intelligence from the field, whether it's from a human source signal or a liaison, there's a vetting process that has to take place there before it goes in finished intel, and then usually it's explained how we got the intel. Again, the Israelis have done a really good job of putting an end run on that system to circumvent it.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking, I'm just wondering if which you pretty much already described it, if the intelligence that Iran had nuclear weapons went through the proper channels.
It didn't.
We know it didn't.
Yeah, it just didn't.
Who's the gate? Who's the gate that's keeping real intel from getting to Trump?
It's a good question. I mean, he, in theory, has control over who he has around him. He's the president. He's the commander in chief.
Somebody's stopping real information from getting to him.
Yeah, clearly. Or maybe he just doesn't want to hear it. I don't know what the case is.
I think he might not want to hear it.
I think he got sold like a pretty clean equation. They were like, hey, the protesters are protesting. The Iranians at the negotiating table have said they still want to enrich because moving that red line, the Israelis and their allies moving that red line and making Trump basically think the U.S. policy is no enrichment, it was very effective. And so they made it seem like the negotiations had stalled out, when in fact I don't think they had. I think Steve Witkoff could have gotten us a deal back in June. I think they just sold them a very simple, rushed equation to get us into this conflict. A big part of getting a quick action like this is rushing the president and telling him, hey, the protesters were just out there in June. We don't have time in January. We don't have time for a long deliberation. We need to conduct these strikes now. And so I think they took away a lot of his decision-making space and time, and only put a handful of advisors around him, and maybe those are the people that he requested, but because he thought that he was under the gun for a time crunch, I don't think he had enough time to really fully assess that.
Get the strong arm, attorney John Foy and Associates. Denied workers' compensation? Feeling like your fight is over? That you'll never see the benefits and money you deserve?
If that's happened to you, don't give up.
Get the strong arm. Call attorney John Foy and Associates.
Our experienced workers' compensation team knows what it takes to get you everything you're entitled to. Don't let another day go by without you getting the money you deserve.
Don't give up. Get the strong arm.
Listen, I was like, I need to finish, because you got to give it to Sean. You got to give it to Joe. It's a really good... This guy jumping in my chair. You got to give it to Joe and Sean. It's a really great interview. It really is. I'm just over it at this point. Like we still got about another 30 minutes to go. I feel like I need to stand up, take a stretch break, take a brain break or something, because, oh my goodness. I got my charger. I need to get up, stretch my legs. Oh my goodness gracious. What's my charger? Maybe we'll see what Cole doing. I hear him up.
this. I knew I had it. I don't know why you all the way over there. But I knew I needed that charger somewhere. Okay. Put you in there. Put you in the bag. And then I'm gonna swap you out. She had 15%, I believe is why she had 97%. That's not bad. She almost done. Let me put this snack up. Goodness. Let's finish. Oh, I do have to swap this computer charger out. And okay. Ooh. I don't know why I be using this charger when I got a charger in the bag. Hold on just a second. Let me put you on the charger. Okay. Alright, we should be good to go. Right? We should be good to go.
A lot of people are saying that your resignation and change of heart is because of influence from your wife. Is there any validity to that?
No, not at all. I mean, we share very similar views. One of the reasons we probably got married, but yeah,
I got to address it. It's out there.
Sure.
But all right, Joe. I want to take a break. When we come back, I just want to talk about what this means for the midterms, what this means for the next election, what this means for the Republican Party, what this means for MAGA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most gear looks good until you actually start using it.
Then you find out pretty quickly what holds up and what doesn't. That's why I keep coming back to Roka. These aren't just lifestyle sunglasses pretending to be performance gear. I've worn mine training, on the range, traveling, and outdoors for long days, and they stay locked in place the entire time. They're incredibly lightweight. The optics are razor sharp with zero glare, and you honestly forget you're even wearing them. But they still look clean enough to wear anywhere. Not overly tactical, just modern, functional design that works every day. Roka was born in Austin, Texas, and everything about them reflects that performance-first mindset. And if you need prescription lenses, they offer both sunglasses and eyeglasses options built to the same standard. And whether you're outfitting a law enforcement unit, a military team, or looking for corporate gifts that don't suck, Roka offers wholesale partnerships to make it happen. Roka isn't just eyewear, it's confidence you can wear every single day. They're the real deal. Ready to upgrade your eyewear? Check them out for yourself at Roka.com and use code SRS for 20% off site-wide at checkout. That's ROKA.com and use code SRS. Want more from The Sean Ryan Show? Join our Patreon today for more clips and exclusive content. You'll get an exclusive look behind the scenes where you can watch the guests interact with the team and explore the studio before every episode. Plus, unlock bonus content like our extra intel segments where we ask our guests additional questions, our new SRS on-site specials, and access to an entire tactical training library you will not find anywhere else. And the best part? Patreon members can ask our guests questions directly. Your insights can help shape the show. Join us on Patreon now, support the mission, and become part of the Sean Ryan Show's story.
Patreon.
To high IQ men earning less than their friends who barely passed high school. You watch guys you grew up with buying houses, making partner, posting.
All right, Joe, we're back from the break. Midterms are coming up.
Yeah.
Next election's coming up.
Yep.
MAGA's split.
Yep.
CNN just put a poll out that said 100% of MAGA. What do they say? 100% of MAGA supports the Iran war. I don't think they're wrong. I just think a lot of people have left MAGA. A lot of people have left MAGA.
Well, that and I think our political opponents would love us to believe that this very unpopular thing we're doing is popular to convince us to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'd be very wary, obviously, of CNN. I don't know why we're even listening to CNN. It's insane.
I'm not. That came from somebody on the staff here.
No, but it's true. I saw that too. Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't watch any mainstream media, not Fox, not MSN, not any of it. It's all fucking garbage.
It is.
But what does this mean? I mean, what are you seeing?
So I think the conventional wisdom would tell you, and I think the president was told this, I think the president was told that wartime presidents are always popular. Like if you look at Bush's approval rating after both the launch in Afghanistan and Iraq, it was his highest ratings yet. So that's the conventional wisdom. The conventional wisdom also says that most Americans care about foreign policy. But what they do care about is they care about the price of the pump. And look at what this conflict has already done to the price of the pump. Look what it's already done to cost of living. We already had an inflation crisis, and Trump was working on getting us out of it. But look at the effect that the war, especially what's happening in the Straits, is going to have on all these everyday issues that your average really hardworking person who's, busting their butt to stay above water, they might not say, like, that's because of the Iran war and dig deeply into the policy, but they're going to be like, oh, the party that's in power right now screwed this up. I'm going to vote for the other guy. And then you have the MAGA issue.
It's not even just this country.
Right.
Yeah.
We're talking about a global economic depression here.
Yeah.
Fucking global economic depression.
Yeah, potential famine because of the fertilizer. I mean, it's just the
looking at famines.
America, I don't think we will, but the amount of fertilizer that needs those petrochemicals that come out of the Gulf that rely on the Straits of Hormuz flowing freely. I mean, that's a major problem. It's going to be a major problem, I think, first for Europe, I think for Africa, for Asia. I think America, we can insulate ourselves to a certain extent. We're definitely going to feel it in terms of the inflation. We're already feeling it. The gas prices are back up like we're back in the Biden era again, unfortunately. So I think that's going to factor heavily on voters. And then the MAGA issue, man, the people that like were hardcore, who were small dollar donors to President Trump and to candidates like me when I was running with his endorsement, them not coming out or them being disenfranchised or them being
he endorsed you
on this war. He endorsed me twice.
Trump endorsed you.
Yeah, twice.
Well, on his speech day, made it sound like he just felt sorry for you because your wife died in combat.
Yep.
And he just like handed you a job, which honestly, I was listening to that. I'm like, if that's how you hand jobs out to your fucking administration, no wonder we're in the fucking place we're at.
Yeah.
You just handing out pity jobs. Here you go.
Yeah, I mean,
like, maybe look at their background. And, you know, this is how we wind up with people like fucking Sebastian Gorka.
I think Trump just got into they put him into a position where he needed to say something about me. And I think he's frustrated because I'm doing these media appearances. So he's going to fire back. Like for me, I don't take it personally. I want him to just focus on what we're talking about, focus on getting us out of this crisis. And then also, like you said, for the midterms, I mean, you're going to need a lot of hardcore MAGA people to come out to knock on doors to do that hardcore work. Because working elections, it's not easy, it's not fun, it's not glamorous. The MAGA base, Trump's base, they're hardworking people, and they got him across the finish line. In 26, a lot of them, now it's debatable how much, but a good chunk of them are going to have a really hard time doing that because of the way this last year has gone.
Don't come banging on my fucking door. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear more of those fucking lies.
I hear that from a lot of people.
It's everything, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the glyphosate stuff?
I did.
The Make America Healthy Again movement?
Right.
Immunity.
Yep.
Because of what? A national security issue? Do you know how many people fucking died of cancer last year? 618,000. That's not a national security concern? You know where the highest concentration of glyphosate is? It's in Iowa. Do you know where the highest concentration of cancer is?
Iowa.
It's in Iowa.
Yeah.
And he just gave them immunity.
What the fuck? Wait a minute. Glyphosate. I don't know if I can spell it. Oh, glyphosate. Glyphosate. No, it's not. It's a herbicide particularly effective against perennial weeds. Okay. Crop desiccant. Roundup. Oh, damn. Not you only giving me. That's it. Look. Wait, come over here. Look, nothing. That's it. That's it. Nothing. Look, nothing. And that article back in 2020. Glyphosate. I don't know why I was glyphosate. Sorry. I had to. Okay, maybe I need to spell it right. Okay. G-O-R. Okay, let me go to glyphosate. Let me Google glyphosate. Okay, is that better? Okay, that's a little better. Glyphosate. But let me. Yeah, look. Go to glyphosate immunity. Glyphosate ad. No immunity for glyphosate ad. Nullification of immunity. What the fuck? Oh, Thomas Massey. House Judiciary. To prohibit the use of federal funds to implement the executive order entitled Promoting the National Defense of Ensuring Adequate Supply of elemental phosphorus and glyphosate-based herbicides. Oh, I do that again. Federal funds. Prohibit the use of federal funds to implement the executive order. Promoting the national defense by ensuring an adequate supply of elemental phosphorus and glyphosate-based herbicides. No immunity for glyphosate act. Wow. Any person or the estate, survivors, or legal representative of such person who suffers or has suffered physical injury, illness, disease, or death caused in whole or in part by exposure to elemental phosphorus or a glyphosate-based herbicide manufactured, distributed, sold, or supplied within the United States may bring a civil action in an appropriate district court of the United States against any covered entity. Damn. That's crazy. Covered entities. For purposes of this section, the term, quote, covered entity, right, means any person, corporation, partnership, association, contractor, subcontractor, or other entity that manufactures, distributes, formulates, supplies, or sells elemental phosphorus or glyphosate-based herbicides. So those are the covered entities. Person, corporation, partnership, association, contractor, subcontractor, or other entity that manufactures, distributes, no immunities for glyphosate manufacturers. No immunities. And then, of course, the jurisdiction. The district courts of the United States shall have jurisdiction over any civil action arising under this section without regard to the amount in controversy or the citizenship of the parties. And then the relief. In a civil action under this section, the court may award compensatory damages, including damages for medical expenses, loss, income, pain, and suffering, and wrongful death. Punitive damages, equitable relief, including declaratory and injunctive relief, and attorney fees. And then, of course, that is... Wow. Wow. That is quite terrifying when you think about it. Look at Sean.
Yeah.
Look at Sean.
We're calling the fentanyl crisis a national security concern. That's 100,000 people. Cancer is 618,000 fucking people in 1 year.
Yeah.
And he just gave them immunity.
Yeah.
Getting hard and getting turned on are not the same thing.
That is why Blue Chew Gold was created.
Science shows that arousal begins in the brain, not just the body.
If you felt resistant to eating meds, you're not alone. I know that blood flow is...
I guess it's a bill that's being introduced.
I think your frustration, your anger is felt by a lot of people who voted, who campaigned.
The Epstein files?
Who believed the Epstein files,
What the fuck is that?
Right.
Are you serious right now? We're just going to let people that are raping and killing and exploiting kids sexually just run free. But we're going to stick the FBI on Joe Kent.
Oh,
it's insanity, and it's going to have a ramification. I know he's probably not being told this at the White House, but it's going to have a ramification on the elections. It just will. I mean, the coalition that we had was something I think very, very special in the sense that you had a lot of people who probably don't consistently vote, who had gotten mobilized with our message. President Trump's economic populism, his desire, at least stated desire, to go after the deep state, No New Wars, the Make America Healthy Again movement, all of those coalescing into what became the MAGA movement in 2024, giving them the Electoral College and the popular vote. I think over the course of the last year, that coalition has been very, very fractured. And people will say, I'm fracturing the coalition right now. I'm not fracturing the coalition. The coalition is very fractured because of our actions. I want to preserve the coalition. I want the coalition to last because I think that formula, I think what President Trump and Vice President Vance ran on in 24 is the right message. It is the right formula for America and for our country. But we've got to be serious. If we promised to deliver and we didn't deliver, we've got to be serious about that, and we've got to show people that we're going to correct that.
I don't think there's any coalition left.
I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. The formula they made in 2024, though, shows that it can be done. And
going after the deep state, we haven't seen one indictment. We haven't seen anything. Nothing. We've seen look the other way.
And move on.
Are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? That's what we see.
No, the CIA, the FBI, all these powerful institutions are still very much intact. And they're still very much calling the shots. And that's a huge problem for the freedom and security of our country. So there's a lot of things this administration, I think, needs to get serious about if we're going to fix things. Obviously, this war being the most pressing. But I think this last year of us attempting to govern is going to have a major ramification in the midterms and then definitely in 28 if we don't get serious about turning it around for sure.
Look at y'all.
What are your aspirations now? What's next for you?
Good.
For the next week or two, I really want to push as hard as I can to attempt to reach the president. And I know that puts me in the line of fire and in the news cycle and people sniping at me online. But that's the only plan I truly had leaving this. The way I look at it is, I already kind of got to do my childhood dream, like in our old line of work, I got to do that, and everything else is kind of gravy. I want to be able to serve my country. I care deeply about the future of this country. I care deeply about the future that we leave for our kids. So whatever capacity I end up working or serving at, as long as I feel like I can influence to make sure I'm using my life experiences and what I've been through to affect a better outcome for our country, and I think national security is probably the best place that I can do that, then I'm happy. I didn't take resigning lightly, but once I made the decision, I felt clarity that I don't think I felt ever in my life. That this is.
Give me a second. Give me a second. I might got to give me a quote for tomorrow. Clarity is the ability to see things as they are. Clarity is essential. Knowing exactly what you want builds your self-confidence. Clarity comes from action. The secret of the weapon. I'm thinking. Let me see. It's power. The more clear you are about what you want, the more likely you are to achieve it. Oh, I like that. Clarity is the perspective you can't see. Uh-oh. That creates emotions are poison to any. Clarity is power. The more clear you are about what you want, the more likely you are to achieve it. Come on, Billy Cox. Stop playing with him. I have to get the quote. See, I got a quote for tomorrow. He put that clarity on my spirit. I was like, oh.
Right thing to do. So
you're the first of many.
Yeah.
That make a statement like that.
Yeah. Look,
are you worried for
pause?
Safety?
No, I'm not. I'm worried for my family. But as a father, you're always worried. You're always worried for your family. I have a strong family, strong extended family, strong friend network. Like we were just talking about at the break and when I got here, the outpouring of support from veterans, from people I served with, from people that are part of the whatever movement this is. It's been amazing. So obviously the security worries are always there in the back of my head. But I think God's on our side, and I think we'll be okay.
Are we going to see you in a midterm, your name pop up in any midterm elections?
Not in a midterm, man. I got the running for Congress out of my system. I'm living in Virginia right now, and I don't think there's much of a prayer where I live for a Republican in my politics to get elected. So no, definitely not in the midterms. I don't really have a desire to run for office again. It was a good experience. I'm glad I did it. I'm also glad it didn't work out because I've kind of had to interact enough now with Congress in my last job that, man, that does not look enjoyable at all. But I want to serve in this capacity. If we're able to get someone into the White House who wants to put this country first, they're going to need people that understand the national security apparatus and how to tackle it and reorient it towards American priorities. So I'd be happy to serve in that capacity.
What about 2028?
Same thing. I think I can help craft good policies and come up with attack plans.
I mean, about a run.
I have no plans to run for president in 2028. Running for Congress is challenging enough. I can't imagine doing it in 2028. A problem with our politics in general is the amount of fundraising that you need to do, and I hated doing that, and I really have zero desire ever again to go ask people to cut me a check. But you have to. Like, you've got to be a relentless fundraiser to make it in politics today. And it's tough because there's so much money out there. This is like literally how our politicians end up getting bought. Like, if they don't take the check, then the other guy, their competitor, is going to take the check. And so that's what a lot of it comes down to. And I'd much rather stay in the national security realm where I think I can contribute more anyways than ever have to go beg donors for money ever again.
How do we solve the APEC problem?
I think we need heavy legislation and regulation on the ability for foreign governments to come in, and even using cutouts, because AIPAC will say, no, this isn't affiliated with Israel. These are Americans who support Israel, and that I think by and large is true. But they're advocating for policies that just support a foreign government. So there's got to be some regulation on foreign agents. There's got to be some regulation on having political fundraising PACs and mechanisms that just support the agenda of a foreign country. What that is, I don't exactly know. I mean, there's
what does that change if they register as a foreign agent?
Right, nothing.
Because the Saudis got a huge lobbying for.
Yeah.
So what does that change?
I don't think it changes much. I think you just are aware. It's more of a upfront. To my knowledge, someone can fact check me on this. I'm not a foreign agent registry expert by any means, but I think once someone is registered under FARA, like, they can't get a government contract.
Okay.
I think they can resign from the position they're in where they had to register under FARA, and then I think they can slide back into. It's not like a forever thing by any means. The problem with the money side is that the Supreme Court basically ruled that money is speech, and just like they can't tell you what you can and can't say, the government can't tell you how you can spend your money. So if you want to put your money into a super PAC, you can put an unlimited amount in there. And I think that's basically been the death of our political system ever since. That makes it very possible for elections to be bought. Because money is fungible, I think it's hard to actually create a firewall around that.
Never ever sue the driver who crashed into you after a car accident. There's a better way to get compensated that's faster, easier, and could get you way more money without spending years in court or paying expensive lawyers up front. If you've been in a car accident within the past year, even if you were just a passenger, what I'm about to share could save you months of hassle and put tens or even hundreds of thousands more in your pocket. Here's what most people do. They either accept whatever small check insurance sends them, or they hire a lawyer up front and prepare for a long, expensive legal battle. Both options leave you frustrated and underpaid. But some accident victims are discovering a completely different approach, one that could get them 6- or 7-figure settlements without ever suing anyone or stepping into a courtroom. It's called the 2025 Crash Connect Compensation Program, and it was created specifically to help.
All right, Joe, we're wrapping up the interview here. Got a hot question for you. Totally different change of pace here, so try to lighten it up a little bit. Joe, the last time you were on the show, we aired a clip called Inside the Military's Most Secretive Unit. That thing did 2.8 million views on YouTube. This time around, we actually had Claude, the AI, Scrape the data on your YouTube performance, dig through sources across the internet, and help us build this question.
Oh, man.
And what came back was very interesting. When you were operating in that secretive unit, doing those missions most people will never hear about, what was your go-to combat loadout and why?
Ooh, that's a great question. So it depends on obviously where I was working. I would say a consistent factor for me, because I was predominantly in the Middle East in dangerous places, was either a Glock 19 or a Glock 43 for an EDC.
A Glock 43?
Yeah, the little guy.
Holy shit. You were running around with a Glock 43?
Depends on what I was wearing and where I was. There's also, what was it, the 20, is it 26 as well? The 26, I think it's the little fatter double stack version. But usually a Glock 19. I like the Glock 19 because it's a good, you can conceal it, but it's still a full-size pistol. You know, you got the 15+1. Cameras heavily as well, just for the type of work that we did.
What kind of cameras?
Small digital camera, like a small, like pocket-sized. Some of our guys would use bigger ones depending on what mission they would do. But then I did a lot of human intelligence. So a huge part of my EDC was a pen and a paper, and probably about $1,000 of cash on me. Because no pen, no paper, no intel, and if you don't pay them, they don't come back.
Damn.
Yeah.
Did you carry a bolt bag or anything?
Like a go bag, like a little. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had a little beat up North Face courier bag that I still have somewhere that I got like in 05, and it was like almost a superstition that I had to take that on every deployment with me, and that would be like my little bug out of the vehicle bag.
Never a long gun?
No, definitely a long gun. Yeah, for sure.
What a long gun?
For sure. So we had 416s for a little bit, and then just standard, AR.
No MP7.
I rolled an MP7 a couple times, but it's just a little thing. The bullet, I was always a little skeptical on. I know some guys, I'd heard people say they shot folks with it, and it was fine. It did the job. It always just seemed really little to me. There's pictures of me with an Uzi. I used an Uzi for a trip as like a lap gun in a car.
Used an Uzi?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because it had it had a great suppressor on it. At the time, we didn't have, we had MP5s, but we didn't have suppressed ones. And the suppressor on the Uzi was sweet. So I used that kind of my lap gun in the car. Big fan of the UMP 45s too. I thought those.
Oh shit! You guys had those?
We had those, yeah. And running around Baghdad, I thought that was great because everything was so close quarters in Baghdad, and you just needed the stopping power, especially working in a car. Yeah.
Look at these.
Damn, boy, I got you a present.
Uh-oh.
You want to see it?
Absolutely.
It's a long gun.
It's a long gun. Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Look at these.
I thought it was gonna be gummy bears.
Look at these two.
You're in luck.
My kids will be happy. This is what they care about.
I'll give you another one. Have you seen these?
Shit.
Yeah.
Dude.
Ooh.
With the FBI investigation, I don't know if you're gonna get cleared for this thing, but this is a SIG, the SIG Spear, chambered in 6.8, brand new optic, and then so SIG wanted me to give this to you.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Thank you so much.
And
beautiful.
then Silencer Shop jumped in too. So they put this suppressor on here. The good thing about Silencer Shop is once you sign up with them and you get everything done, that makes the process go a lot smoother, a lot easier getting suppressors, the class 3 item stuff. So anyways.
Ooh, that nose on it.
This is incredible, man. Thank you so much. Say, what a beautiful gun.
You got to get your own clip.
You want to rip a couple off out
Look,
back?
look. You got to get your own clip. Absolutely. Look.
Definitely. Man, this is beautiful.
What?
Wow. Thank you.
Ooh,
You're welcome.
Thank you, man.
We just happen to have some 6.8 out there, so
Yeah.
when we wrap this up, we'll go.
Indeed.
This is
Look.
amazing.
We'll blow some shit up.
Look at his eyes.
I really like that thing.
That's nice. Yeah. I haven't shot this before.
It feels really good.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna like it.
I think so too.
Good.
There's a follow-on question.
Let's go.
You're gonna go back into combat tomorrow. What would you... If they institute the draft and we don't have to go back to Iran or the Middle East,
There's gonna be like jokes on you, smartasses.
what would your loadout look like today with all the new tech and weapon systems the military has developed since you were on the ground last?
I would need to get spun up on the drones and the counter drones.
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, I can, talk about long guns and pistols all day long, but the fight nowadays, man, with those FPV drones, that technology, I would get hot on that as fast as I possibly could. And then how to defend, I think how do you defend any kind of like small formation that you have? Like what system can you carry around to at least have a fighting chance against those things? That'd be my first task.
I think I'd get really good at 3D printing.
Yeah, exactly.
At 3D printing is going. It's somebody on my algorithm that be doing it. He's so cool. He was so cool. How to convince my wife not to regret the 3D printer, and he'll print up. I think he had printed a cup for the stroller because the stroller didn't have no cup holder. He had, was it a clip or a hook or something for the electric scooter when you go to the grocery store? He needs something to clip the groceries on. He's so cool. Was it a nozzle or something like that? It was something for the high chair. He needed a snub. It was something that he had made. Them 3D printings going crazy.
Yeah, the technology coming off the battlefield in Ukraine is just incredible.
Oh, Ukraine. Okay.
There is real disruption coming, and unless you have the path and the plan, unless you have the mindset around AI.
All right, last thing. This is live. This is live on my Patreon right now, so we took some questions as we were doing the interview. So let's crank through some of these. This is from Ava Evans. Thank you so much, Mr. Kent, for your bravery and honesty. What is your advice to the younger generations who may have to drive to serve humanity in the midst of this chaos, but also do not agree with the objective and agenda of this current administration?
To serve humanity.
Yeah, I think she's saying, join the military.
Oh, to join the military.
With Iran.
Yeah.
That's what she's alluding to.
Look, I hope we can be effective and walk this back and get us out of it. I think a key part of that, and especially for the people that are, you have a huge audience. I think for people who feel like they can't do anything, I think them calling their senators, calling their congressmen, going to the president's websites and social medias and just saying politely that they are against this. I think that's probably one of the most effective things we can have to do to get out of this. I think for people that find themselves in the military or have to be in the military, I think your first obligation really is to the man and the woman.
Lord, like, girl, sit still, honey. We finna go play in a minute. Look how he over there holding it while talking. Go on, Joe.
Left and right, make sure they come home and get a job to do. That's why we're trying to sort out the policy from our end. But before you join, take a good hard look at what's going on right now, and only you can make the decision.
Look how he's holding
it, child. To support with your life. And don't rush that decision. Again, my goal is to make it so that we can send people back into the military, knowing their leaders will only deploy them against a vital national security interest. Yeah, right now we need to have all voices need to be heard right now to say that we are against what's taking place. Let our elected leaders know that.
Well said, man. Well said. This is from Leela Restivo. What criteria should be met before deploying U.S. troops into conflict? How can we ensure accountability from leadership when wars do not have clear objectives or protection of outcomes?
Get you some water.
It's a great question, and they basically give the answer in there. I think our leaders need to say before they deploy people into harm's way, this is the objective. This is why I'm sending you to this country. I'm sending you to this country to accomplish this military objective, and then quickly be able to articulate why that objective is in our vital national security interest. And America's vital national security interest. Why, if we don't take out this threat, it's going to harm Americans. That has to be very, very clear up front. And that has to come from the commander-in-chief. I understand there's like the War Powers Act, and there's certain things that Congress should be able to do. But as fast as things move, this largely rests at the executive branch, unfortunately. Unless the Congress is willing, unless we elect enough people in Congress that are willing to withhold funding from the military, unless... for operations, unless there's actually a war powers declaration.
Roger that. This is from Zach. Since you know all that we can do, which changes would you like to see at NCTC that would be most beneficial to citizens that we protect?
That's a tough one. I think in terms of, that's a very good question. I think in terms of screening and vetting, it's a big part of what NCTC does to make sure when people come into the country, they don't have ties to a terrorist organization. There's a lot of different agencies that touch screening and vetting in America. In the U.S. government, it's a very complicated bureaucracy. I think there basically needs to be one central clearinghouse for screening and vetting to decide if someone has ties to a terrorist organization or not, and whether or not they should be allowed in. The problem is there's a bunch of different ways, and there's a bunch of people who have equities and are able to say whether or not folks are let in. I think there needs to be one agency for that, and that should be NCTC.
Roger that. It's from Declan. Iran is known to harbor many terrorists who are actively training and planning to attack the U.S. home front through sleeper cells. Former CIA targeter Sarah Adams has proved this through open intelligence channels. All this considered, why is Iran not a threat to the United States?
So the question was, is Iran an imminent threat? And based on what Secretary Rubio said and what we've talked about here today, the only imminent threat was Israel attacking Iran. Is Iran a threat to America? Iran has been a threat to America, and there's other countries that are threats to America as well. The question is, how do you deal with those threats? My issue is us being part of the Israelis' agenda, but then also using a massive conventional attack on Iran as the way of dealing with the threat that Iran poses, I think is wrong. I think we'd be much better off doing targeted CT operations against Iranian proxies or Iranian leaders, not doing a massive regime change that results in the Straits of Hormuz being closed, and then also a rally around the flag that reinforces the hardliners inside of Iran.
Do you think they would institute a draft if they had to for this war?
If they do that, then the war is going to fail really quickly, because I just don't think the American people are willing to saddle up their sons and daughters for the draft. If they could get away with it, I think they'd be tempted to do it, because it'd be like all options on the table, right? Like if they say, like, if we get so far sucked into this thing, kind of like we did in the Iraq War, where it's like we can only win by applying a massive amount of ground troops. Iran is so big, we can't do it with the standing military that we have right now, as big as it is. We would have to do a draft. Now, I think a negative to a downside to the all-volunteer force we've had is that it's been very easy to deploy us, and most Americans don't really know or care that we've been deployed because we volunteered for it. We have professional soldiers. I think a draft is actually a good check on that. I think compulsory service. I think if there was more people right now who they had to go do 2 years in the military and they were like, oh crap, my 2 years are going to involve this Iran deployment, I think a lot more people in America, and that was felt by the entire American population, that every able-bodied man and woman was eligible for a 2-year period to go serve. Wars like this wouldn't happen, in my opinion.
That is a very interesting point of view that I have not thought about.
Yeah. As much as I don't like the idea of conscripting people or having mandatory service, because I liked the professional warrior class that we were a part of, I like serving with volunteers. The problem with volunteers is, man, we'll just keep going back, and you'll create a professional warrior class, and then we'll, like I did, we'll intermarry, and we'll live in our tight communities. Everybody I know is a veteran, and so we have an insular community, and we're the only ones that experience the war, experience the loss, and we keep going back over and over again. Whereas if you spread out that burden to the entire country, it makes it almost impossible to keep us at war for a prolonged period. The only reason the Vietnam War ended is because there was the people basically revolted against it because of the draft. And that's the big reason why I think after Vietnam, they were like, we can't draft people anymore. Let's create a professional military.
Damn. I have not thought about it like that. Makes a lot of sense. This is from Donnie.
All grocery store produce has pesticides that can't be washed off, but only a few know this trick to get rid of it. So first step is...
If Iran was not an immediate threat, then what threats are there that we should be the most concerned about?
Iran was not an immediate threat?
If Iran was not an immediate threat, he wants to know what are the threats that we should be most concerned about.
I think we should be worried about the fact that we had open borders in this country for 4+ years, like we talked about, and the sheer volume of potential known suspected terrorists that are here. Our main focus should be getting our homeland straight, first and foremost. There's other threats from Al-Qaeda in Yemen, Al-Qaeda in Syria.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. They started getting new bottles and shit. Got like this blue fucking tint to it or something. They doing something. I just smell like I know that smell. You know them damn beads that be in the shoebox? That's what it smells like.
There's a lot that we don't know that's taking place in Afghanistan that Sarah's talked about at nauseum on your show. So there still is CT threats out there. I mean, there still are people that we do need to hunt down and kill because they seek to do us harm. Again, that's why this another reason why this conflict in Iran concerns me so much, because all of our resources are going to be sucked up there. And Al-Qaeda and ISIS and all of our adversaries are going to take this time to rebuild and probably attack.
In China.
And China, man, they're raking in the cash right now. I mean, this is working out in their favor. For people who are very, very worried about Russia, same thing. I mean, their energy surplus is going to be reintroduced to the market at a greater value.
Man. Well, Joe, that pretty much concludes the interview. But once again, man, I am serious. Thank you for what you did. I know that was a tough decision. And like I said, I know that took a lot of courage, but what an example you are, man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you.
What it means to be an American. And that is
appreciate it.
Fucking awesome what you're doing. So, God bless, brother.
Real life. In real. And we needed that. We needed a hero. Because hold on just a second. I didn't like so much going on yesterday. I totally forgot that Ye was dropping. I totally forgot. Cardi bought out Nicki. Kim. She bought out Kim. Lil' Kim. Okay, go back up. Oh my goodness. Oh, am I muted? Hold on, move out the way. I ain't gonna be able to hear it. I have my headphones. Look at Ye sitting over there in the pew. I think I left my headphones on the back. I'm gonna have to get off of here. Cause I ain't gonna be. And this is Travis. Let me see. Bully. Yeah. Oh my God. What the hell? Oh my goodness. Let me see. What's the lineup looking like? Goodness gracious. We got some visuals. Wait, well, I don't know. That could be a steal. Okay, Father, I Can't Wait, White Lines, whoever Andre Troutman is, Don Toliver, Circles, Preacher Man, Beauty and the Beast, Last Breath. Who is Peso Pluma? Damn. This one here. This a Must. All the Love. Punch Drunk. Whatever Works. Mama's Favorite. Sisters and Brothers. Look at CeeLo Green. Bully. Highs and Lows. And then King. I'm not, let me. I can mute my mind. It won't even be no point. Look, I'm like, it won't even be no point. I probably finna go ahead and put my headphones on and run through this playlist real quick, real fast. You see he on the algorithm now. 2.4 million. It dropped yesterday, last night-ish. And so, stop playing. I'm finna get ready to go on over there. Erica Sue and Gajewski. I doubt it, y'all. I doubt it. I definitely doubt that. Oh, what would be Rage Mix. What would be over there? Christmas Day. See what I mean? See what I be talking about? Sleeping with all that on the face and the lashes. I thought sleeping with lashes was dangerous, but let me mind my business. This is Christmas Day. Toothbrush, peroxide, and then toothpaste. The toothpaste drops. Circle, whatever. I don't know. She got to clean the face. She got to wash her face. She got to humidify, mystify, whatever that is. She got to put her makeup on, all that. Whatever that is. Gloss, primer, whatever that is. Mute. Okay, fluff, make your bed, spray it down, fluff the pillows. Okay, breakfast, morning. Mint, scents, demystify, orange slices, cherries, cinnamon sticks, okay, vanilla extract, water, Evian, I just call it Evian, eggs, biscuit, butter, okay, avocado oil, biscuits, oil, pan, oil, what is this? Sausage. Look like it. Sausage. Tillamook. Cheese. What kind of cheese is that? Was that Cobra Jack? Eggs. Milk. Cream. Okay. And then it look like some gravy or something. What are we doing? Milk. Oats. What is this? She ain't giving out no more. Vanilla booty. Okay. Okay. Let me see. I like that little cooker. Okay, syrup. Oh, my God. Say that. Damn. That electric, let me tell you something. Sorry, I had your angle a little. I had looked up one on Home Depot last night. One of them electric box cutters. Oh, yeah. You ain't said nothing but a word. Okay. Stewart family. She was obsessed with that in the pillow thing. Okay. Clean. Put your foot. Okay. I like the little setup. Look how she. I love that Nikki. Like I said, child, you have to appreciate people from afar. Cause when I tell you, I couldn't. Who is this? The Jimmy Dore? Why I don't trust the guy. Whitney Webb. What they're not telling you about Joe Kent. Oh Lord. Let me see what Whitney said.
How I'm upping my lawn game this year. I've been trying to care for my lawn myself, but it's difficult to figure out exactly.
What do you make of Joe Kent?
Yeah, so with Joe Kent, he's a intelligence officer and top CIA guy. I think a lot of stuff is going on right now, and I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it. But I think people should be careful in trusting former, quote unquote, spooks who come out of nowhere and are saying what you want to hear. Right away, because a lot of times what happens is that these figures will do that to build up trust with the public, and then they'll misdirect you somewhere else if you're not careful. So I would advise vigilance and critical thinking, which is often in short supply but should not be, about that figure in particular. But I think
you think there might be some kind of a long game plan with Joe Kent?
Oh yeah.
So I've heard this argument, and that don't take him as face value, that they're just setting him up to be the next Trump or J.D. Vance or something, and then he's going to do all the horrible thing. So
they could. It's very possible, but I don't know how it'll go.
But
let me give you an example of why I'm really skeptical of him.
Okay.
So when Trump was, I encourage people to go back and look at the first iteration of the Trump administration to understand what's happening now. And since my career in journalism began during Trump's first term, I thankfully remember a good amount of it. So about a year before the January 6th event, there was this DHS official, and this is the Trump administration, Elizabeth Newman, I think her name was. She was basically saying, there's going to be a domestic terror event. We can see it building, but we can't quite stop it. It's another 9/11. Oh no. If only we had more surveillance powers and whatever, we could maybe stop this other imminent 9/11, whatever. Okay. And so basically in that hearing, it was a hearing where she was testifying, top officials from DHS and other intelligence agencies were basically painting who is the up-and-coming domestic terrorist profile in the United States, what Americans are domestic terrorists. And so basically, I really wish I could remember the specific name of the hearing to direct people to that, because it is on C-SPAN still. But basically, the profile they gave were anti-Semitic Trump supporters or anti-Semitic right-leaning populists. So I worry when people from that exact nexus that existed in Trump 1 come out and are trying to get right-leaning populists in particular to do things that the Trump administration itself, even if no one else agrees with the definition, would define as anti-Semitic.
So, sounds like a reach to me, because I'm like, well, but it just sounds like a reach. Because I just listened to his interview with Sean, and it wasn't giving any of that. He spends 5% of his time on governing, 95% of his time on playing mind games with the public. Child, give me a shout out, please. I need it every time. Thank you. Too much drama in a big way. Establishment sometimes allow their opponents. Okay, I totally understand what she's saying. They feel both sides of the conspiracy so they can squash your rights. Been skeptical. Does not mean you think someone is a bad person. It means you're being wise. Okay. All right, Bill Cooper said, listen to everyone, believe no one, and make up your own mind. I mean, I do understand what she's... Let me just let her finish.
explain that again to me,
Right,
because you
damn,
lost
get
me a
your
little
words
bit
out.
right at the end. So you're saying that
Okay, so basically the first Trump administration defined the rising domestic terror threat because after 9/11 they've been building all this infrastructure for a war on domestic terror.
Right.
Every administration has advanced it, Democrat
Yes.
and Republican.
Yes.
So who are they saying the domestic terrorists are? Anti-Semitic right-leaning populists.
And so do you think Joe Kent is one of those?
Well, so before this era, they had the domestic terror threat they were trying to put in front of you were obviously these groups of like feds, like Patriot
Yes.
Front
Patriot
and
Front.
the Proud Boys
Yes.
and all of that. Okay, so how if you can't fake the demographic, how do you engineer the demographic?
And so you think
Does
that's
that make sense? So basically, if you have Trump officials that are part of this apparatus claiming right-leaning anti-Semites are domestic terrorists that need to be targeted by this infrastructure and the surveillance infrastructure and pre-crime and all of that that's been a part of this buildup of the war on domestic terror. And then you have people coming out and being like, we're going to blame, saying what people want to hear, because obviously Israel absolutely is intimately involved with getting us involved in the Iran war. But the other side of it is you signal boost that with people like Joe Kent, potentially, and then you have people sort of muddy the waters between Israel and all Jewish people, which is not fair.
Whitney, no ma'am. No ma'am. I'll let you have it. Whatever you think, honey. You got it. You got it. You got it, honey. You got it. That's okay. Well, we'll see what happens, and if it does happen, it happens. If it don't, goodness gracious. I'm like, ma'am. She was like all over the place. Like, all over the place. What happened?
Sean Rock. Maybe you've heard her name, maybe you haven't. I'm pretty confident you've at least seen a
Why
couple
is he
clips of
talking
hers
about
because she...
Krishan as? Why is he talking about Krishan? 3.6 million. What the fuck does she do now?
Gaza is at a tipping point. Yeah,
what does she do now?
Because she has been addicted to social media attention for a while, so she constantly pops up on popular streamers' streams to try and leech a little bit of clout for herself. Personally, I've always found her to be like a vibe dementor on stream, where she just sucks out all the fun and all the life, leaving only misery in its wake. But that's not the biggest deal in the world. There's plenty of people that are, vibe terrorists that just aren't super entertaining to watch. That's not like a crime.
Well, what happened?
But what is a crime, at least should be, is the way that she handled her pregnancy. Krishan Rock loved to party. I say loved like it's past tense. I'm sure she still...
Why he dropped this shit 11 days ago like he talking about some new shit? I really need to go over there and look at Skin Bone. Skin Bone Uncut and Child. They done clipped it, so, But it was a decent one. I don't think I want to hear him talking about Krishan drinking while she was pregnant. Smoking while she was pregnant. We knew that. We already knew that. Don't do that. Don't do that. I don't need no more PTSD. We just getting over it. I don't need all that. Let me see what's going on. Look, and then... Oh my God, Jesse, he just will not let it go, Lord. Let me see what's going on, because I saw Skinny Pop and I was like, ooh, Skinny Pop, Okay, we got some Oreos, we got some wonton, some grapes. I can't tell what that is. Ooh, them paper plates, Lord. Eggs, goldfish, Cascade, salmon, Okay, and then it get bought inside and she spaghetti. Okay, she always got to take everything out, clean it, keep it. I like this. I like, every time. That is something that you're supposed to do. Clean your refrigerator out every time you go to the grocery store. Isn't that something you're supposed to do? Oh, them look like dates. They look okay, cherry. Whatever that is. Strawberries. Cherries. Them dates. Or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what the hell them is. What? Pepperoni. Carrots. And I couldn't tell. She put whatever there it looked like. Okay, see. Ooh, rain. Oh, ow. Okay, walk in. Oh, okay, label maker. Yogurt. And then that little cheese thing. Cheese. Sargento. Yes, ma'am. Okay, Lunchable. Ugh. Chobani flips. Yogurt. Okay, lemon and lime. Whatever them is, cucumbers. Let's go. Cherries, strawberries, and who them days. Okay, and then eggs. Label maker. Pepperoni. The carrots with the oil and the ranch. And then whatever all these drinks. Coconut water for sure. But I don't use Kirkland. Goya. Sparkling Fizzy. Easy. Apple juice. What was that? Kirkland orange juice. You gotta put the orange juice in there in the milk. Turkey, salami, whatever. Turkey, bacon, cheese slices, and honey, some ham, eggs. Don't drop it. Butter. Milk. Orange juice. Okay. Avocado mash. Ooh. We didn't get to see that. Okay. That ain't that bad. That wasn't that bad. Bread. That wasn't that bad. Costco. I'm like, you could have bought that shit from a regular grocery store. Costco's supposed to be the bulk. All that random shit. I'm
So now
like,
everyone's
that's random shit
complaining
that you can go get from the grocery store. Publix. But whatever. You got it, my love. I'm finna get up out of here. Domino versus Pizza Hut. Stefan, stop. I'm finna go and get up out of here. I'm doom scrolling at this point. In the meantime,